Hi everyone, today is Word Problem Wednesday, and this video will have two focuses. The first will be on really getting to know the relationship between three numbers, that is two small numbers and the larger number that they create when combined, and getting to know how to solve for any one of those three given the other two. The second part of this video will be about the different ways a word problem can present a subtraction type of problem. Here we go. Let's review from last week. With these little arrow diagrams, you can see where the two smaller numbers belong and how together they compose a bigger number. Sometimes you're given one of the small numbers and the big number, in which case you just decompose the big number into two parts and subtract the one that you already know. Let's review yesterday's video with thinking of numbers as a distance or a length. This yellow bar here looks to be about, let's say, 6 units long. Since the yellow bar is 6, the red must be about 2. Together, this creates a length of 8. From here all the way to here. We may know 6 and 2, and we add them together to get 8. Or we may know 6 and 8, and not know what this other smaller number is. If you know that 6 plus something equals 8, you can rearrange that equation to be 8. Let's start with the bigger number and decompose it, take away the first number we do know to find out what's left over. The same applies if you knew what the 2 was and didn't know what the 6 was. Let's review a new equation. We know that the yellow bar is 14, and there's another small number that we are combining it with, the red bar, but we don't know exactly what this number represents. We know that the full length, or the sum of the two numbers, is 16. When we are creating our arrow diagram, we know that 14 is a small number and that 16 is the big number. We need to know the other small number. We can form an equation. 14 plus something equals 16. We can rearrange this equation to become subtraction. Start with the big number, break it into two pieces, which we did, and take away the piece that we know about to see what's left over. The answer is 2. Here we don't know the first small number, but we do know the full bar is 43. And we do know the other small number, which is 22. How can we solve for the yellow bar? We know that 22 is a small number and 43 is the big number. How can we solve for the yellow bar? Something plus 22 more combined equal 43. Let's see what's left over from 43 after we take away 22. The yellow bar must be 21. Let's do a quick review from last week. The different types of problems where you're adding or combining, you have some and then you get some more. This is an adding question. You might also be combining two independent sets. I found 5 eggs, my sister found 4 eggs. It's not a first then, but it's two separate numbers being combined. The possible structures of a word problem where subtraction is required is first you have some and then you have less. You either ate some, gave some away, shared some, lost some, something along those lines. The other format could be finding the difference between two sets. So how much more or how much less is often the way these questions are worded. Here are a few questions to practice. First, go through each one and identify what type of problem this is. Second, set up an arrow diagram. And third, solve for the unknown number. If you can complete all of these questions, I have a bonus question for you. Are the arrow diagrams always true? What I mean by that is, are the two numbers that I call the smaller numbers always smaller than the big number that they compose? Have a discussion.